It was a cold Tuesday morning in April. The year was 2085. The first sign of the invasion was the sudden mass panic of all the birds across the globe taking flight in their tens of millions. The sky almost turned black as they flew overhead, cutting out the sunlight. Then came the sound. It was a low, planetary hum, vibrating through bedrock and bone alike. Seismographs screamed, oceans rippled without wind, and waves started to build. Every human who heard it felt the same instinctive dread, like prey realizing the ground itself had begun to hunt. Then the sky tore open. Above Earth's major fault lines, the atmosphere split into molten hexagonal wounds. Gateways from another world or dimension? From them descended the Kenari Swarm. Towering insectoid colossi, hundreds of meters long, their armored bodies segmented like living fortresses. Wings of translucent chitin beat thunder into the air. Their mandibles glowed with bioplasma, dripping energy hot enough to glass cities in seconds. Humanity had 30 minutes to understand extinction, and less than 2 minutes to fight back. General Henry Anderson stood in the command cradle of the orbital defense platform Centurion, watching the tactical display turn red. Swarm units emerged faster than projections could predict. Every one of them was a queen breeder, capable of spawning millions of drones once anchored to the planet's crust. "Sneaky bastards," Anderson said. "They bypassed our orbital defenses by somehow creating direct gateways onto the planet." "They're not invading," her science officer said, voice tight. "They're converting." Earth was a jewel in the vast expanse of the galaxy. Resource-rich and perfect for colonization if you could eliminate the species who currently lived there. The Kelnari Swarm wanted Earth and had studied it for 5 years before attacking. They had observed the planetary defense systems and decided to directly avoid them. And now, by having the element of surprise, they were winning and the conquest had begun. Centurion powered up and fired first. Its AI identifying multiple targets across the planet. Lances of concentrated solar energy stabbed downward, slicing through the nearest insect titan. Its thorax split open, spilling incandescent ichor into the stratosphere. The corpse fell like a burning continent fragment. The humans cheered, for exactly 3 seconds. Then the titan's body twitched. From its remains erupted thousands of smaller forms, screaming through the air like living shrapnel. "They adapt," Anderson said grimly. "Of course they do." On the ground, Sergeant Matt Spector ran through the shattered streets of San Francisco with the 1st Battalion. Above them, the sky was alive. Black with wings, glowing with weapons fire. Matt had been in the Special Forces for 10 years before transferring to the new Planetary Defense Squad. His call sign Ghost reflected both his name but also his unnatural ability to survive in scenarios where no human being should be able to walk away from. For years Matt had been deployed into combat zones so hot no one dared go in. Take on missions which had a potential success rate of less than 5%, but still somehow he had survived. He had endured. He was an elite killing machine forged in battle, and today the Kelnari would meet Earth's most lethal hunter. "Target the joints," Ghost shouted over the comms as his powered exosuit locked onto a charging drone beast the size of a tank. He fired a railgun burst straight into its knee segment. The creature collapsed, screeching, hissing as it ate through asphalt. Human weapons weren't stronger than the swarm. They were just handled and mastered by smarter soldiers. Soldiers who understood combat tactics and strategy. Soldiers who understood how to suppress overwhelming odds, adapt and then overcome. Soldiers who embraced fear and channeled it to become warriors. Every exosuit streamed live combat data to Earth's combat AI, which rewrote tactics in real time. Missiles evolved mid-flight, bullets adjusted density on impact. Humanity had learned, painfully, that survival meant never fighting the same way twice. Their history was stained in bloody battle after battle, and they evolved and learned from each one, becoming deadlier each time. Still, the swarm kept coming. It was a never-ending sea of darkness descending onto the surface. And then a large shadow blotted out the sun. Ghost looked up and saw a hive monarch descending, its wings spanning the horizon. Its presence crushed morale like gravity. "Command," he whispered, "we're out of time." Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, humanity's final contingency activated. Project Hellfire. For decades, scientists had studied the impossible energy signatures of hypothetical stars compressed into human-made containment fields. They had never dared to ignite one. Until now, Anderson watched the confirmation light turn green. "Hellfire online," his tech said quietly. "Localized stellar ignition ready." The plan was madness. Create a temporary artificial sun inside Earth's magnetosphere, using its radiation to overload the swarm's hive mind quantum resonance. It would cripple their coordination, but it might also tear the planet's magnetic shield apart. Anderson didn't hesitate. He had no time to do it, he ordered. Fire, do it now. The sky burned. A miniature star flared above the atmosphere, brighter than noon, brighter than fear. Radiation screamed across the planet in controlled waves. The effect was immediate and devastating. Swarm units faltered mid-air, crashing into one another. Hive monarchs roared, not in rage, but confusion. Their perfect synchronization shattered into chaos. On the ground, Ghost felt it too, a sudden silence in his skull, like pressure lifting. They're disorganized, he shouted. Push now. Human forces surged, cutting through the disoriented swarm. Thousands of Kelnari fell in seconds. Across the planet the same pattern emerged. The swarm suffered catastrophic losses in the space of minutes worldwide. The final battle came at the Pacific Rift, where the largest hive monarch had embedded itself into the mantle, preparing to birth a planetary swarm. General Anderson made a decision that would finish this war for once and for all. Drop this station right on top of that monster before it's too late, he said. No one questioned the order. Everyone aboard the station knew the sacrifice they were about to make. They would never get a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones and friends, but this plan, if it worked, would ensure humanity would survive. Centurion descended from orbit, its entire mass burning as it entered the atmosphere. Centurion is not rated for this, an officer warned. Anderson smiled thinly. Neither are they. The station crashed directly into the Monarch's core, detonating Hellfire's residual energy in a controlled implosion. Light consumed sea and sky. The shockwave rippled across the planet, but Earth held. When the fire faded, the Monarch was gone. So was the swarm and Centurion, with everyone aboard. Heroes who had given the ultimate sacrifice to save their world. Ghost knelt on rubble from a destroyed building. Both Kelnari and human bodies lay piled around him. He had survived again, but only just. Multiple wounds leaked across his body, but he knew none of them were fatal. He was exhausted, but the battle had been won. The cost was horrendous, the devastation incalculable. He looked around and saw relief on the surviving soldiers from his battalion, and then laughter followed by cheers erupted all around. They had done it. They had survived the impossible. Months passed by, humanity rebuilt under scarred skies. They had lost cities, millions of lives. Innocence and all naivety around whether they were alone in the galaxy had been completely and utterly extinguished. But Earth still turned, that beautiful blue, green and white jewel in the galaxy. And deep in space, far beyond the reach of human sensors, something shifted its attention. The Vorkan Empire, the galaxy's most feared race and conquerors of thousands of worlds, had watched from afar. The Kelnari swarm had failed, and humanity had just announced itself to the universe, not as prey but as something much more terrifying. Humanity was a race of apex predators capable of adapting to any situation and fearless in the face of certain death. The Vorkan Empire recognized something in humanity that mirrored their own warrior race. No hesitation to face an enemy. No retreating. Heart and courage. This would make a wonderful conquest and honorable battle. And slowly they started to plan their invasion. On Earth, Ghost had been promoted to captain and was now leading a specialized unit created after the Kelnari invasion. They were a small unit of 10 soldiers, all hand-picked for their various skill sets in battle. They had new gear, new suits, new weapons. They were faster, stronger, better than before. Scientists had studied the Kelnari bodies and extracted strange new toxins from their corpses, which somehow had strange effects on human subjects. Initial tests on animals showed enhanced abilities, but when applied to human subjects the results were electrifying. Greater speed, faster reflexes, unnatural ability to heal wounds instantly. All 10 had been volunteers to test this new enhancement injection, and not only had they survived, they thrived. They were code-named the Immortals, and the galaxy was about to learn just what this truly meant. The Vorkan Empire would be a battle in the future which humanity unknowingly would have to face. For now they rose from the ashes with a grim determination to find and erase every trace of the Kelnari swarm. The galaxy was about to witness human retribution, and it would be spearheaded by the Ghost and his Immortals. And everyone would learn what it meant to fear and why you don't go to war with humanity. Part 2: The Rise of the Immortals. The Kelnari had came from the dark between stars, believing Earth would break like every other world. They were wrong. When the first Kelnari colossi pierced Earth's skies, humanity answered with fire and defiance. They answered with soldiers who would not just roll over and die. The entire galaxy had taken notice. From this battle a new race of super soldier was born. They were called the Immortals, though their official designation had been erased from all surviving records. Wounds closed, bones reknit, hearts restarted themselves. They remembered every death. You see, what had begun as an injection to enhance the soldiers' abilities had ignited something truly terrifying. Not only did their wounds heal, but fallen soldiers started to rise again. Death had become a mere constant before flashing back to life. They truly had become immortal. Some insane, magical, unnatural mix between human biology and the Kelnari genes had mutated their bodies, and now they literally couldn't die. They fought relentlessly with no fear, never backed down, never took prisoners, and they followed one commander. They called him Ghost. Some claimed he had been the first volunteer. Others said he was not human at all, but an echo of Earth itself given flesh. His armor was pale and scarred, etched with the names of cities the Kelnari had burned during the opening invasion. His voice was calm, even when issuing orders that rewrote history. When the Kelnari ground armies were annihilated on Earth, torn apart by soldiers who rose when all seemed lost, the Insect Empire realized it had made a terrible mistake. They tried to retreat. Ghost did not allow it. Earth's counterattack was not a fleet. It was a spear. Earth had rebuilt, risen from the ashes, and identified as many Kelnari invaded worlds as they could find, and one by one they had started to take them back. Worlds were liberated one by one. Hives wiped from all existence. Now humanity planned the ultimate revenge. What had begun as 10 immortals was now an army of 500. A single armada of captured Kelnari ships, reconfigured by human engineers and crewed entirely by immortals, tore through hyperspace and emerged above Kelnar Prime, the living hive world of the Empire. Kelnar Prime was not a planet in the human sense. It breathed. Cities were grown, not built. Spires of chitin reached into a toxic green sky. Beneath the surface, billions of Kelnari drones slept in layered womb vaults, waiting to be called to war. The Kelnari queens laughed when they detected the human force. So few, so fragile, so doomed. Then Ghost spoke on every Kelnari frequency at once. You came to our world to end us. We came to yours to teach you what ending means. Then the drop pods fell. Immortals hit the surface like meteors. Kelnari plasma ripped them apart. Acid dissolved flesh. Limbs were severed and crushed beneath clawed titans. And still the humans rose. A soldier torn in half dragged himself forward until his legs regenerated. Another detonated himself inside a hive tower, reformed from reconstructed matter minutes later, and rejoined the assault. Every death was temporary, every advance permanent. The Kelnari had never faced an enemy that learned from dying. Ghost moved at the center of the chaos, his blade humming with stolen alien energy. Queens tried to psychically dominate him. They found nothing to grasp. He had died too many times to fear them. Hive after hive fell. The planetary nervous system collapsed. The skies burned as immortal boarding teams carved through orbital brood stations, disabling planetary defenses from the inside. The Kelnari began to understand. This was not conquest. This was punishment. Deep within Kelnar Prime, Ghost reached the Grand Brood Cathedral where the eldest queen waited, vast and ancient, her mind stretching across the planet. She spoke directly into his thoughts. Why do you hate us so? Ghost removed his helmet. His face was scarred, tired, and immortal. I don't, he said. He gestured to the holographic projection of Earth behind him, cities rebuilding, children walking beneath repaired skies. You came to take our future, Ghost continued. So we took your certainty, your safety, your belief that the universe belongs to you. The queen shrieked as immortals planted stellar charges throughout the hive. We will be remembered, she hissed. Ghost nodded. Yes, he said, as a warning. He walked away as Kelnar Prime began to crack, the planet's living core collapsing in on itself. The Kelnari Empire ceased to exist in a single rotation of the galaxy. No immortal remained behind, no human flag was planted, no territory claimed. Earth returned to silence. The immortals vanished from public records soon after, their mission complete. Some say they sleep beneath the planet. Others believe they watch the stars, waiting. And in the dark corners of the galaxy, empires whisper a single name when they consider invading a small blue world. Ghost. Because Earth does not conquer. Earth remembers, and Earth sends its dead to finish wars the living started. Thank you for listening, and please remember to like and subscribe for more adventures of the Ghost and his immortals.